Hey folks, this is Kelani. It's been a little bit of a busy week so far in the PTR, checking out all of the new profession items, the tools of the trade, finally getting a release candidate build. We also have a release date for both patch 8.15 and the current plans for opening up the new Crucible of Storms raid. There's also some finishing touches to allied races, an interesting behind the scenes system change which might make a lot of you very happy, and it looks like we might be losing more than we bargained for when it comes to the portal rooms. Let's hop right in to see what's been going on. We may as well start off with the patch 8.15 release date because that's something very important when talking about the PTR, even if the news is a few days old at this point. Patch 8.15 is currently slated to release on March 12th, which is the day I would have put money on if I were a betting man. But I'm not, so we don't have too much longer to wait. 2 weeks after the last wing of LFR opens up for the Battle of Dazar'alor raid seems like a pretty good time frame. It gives anyone relying on the looking for raid difficulty a chance to get all 3 bosses down in the new wing before some new content comes our way. That also means everybody has a chance to take down Jaina, the last boss of that raid. It also follows on with the story nicely, so we shouldn't have a huge gap between the events of the raid and where we go from here. One thing that's coming with patch 8.15 that might be a little disorienting at first is the new portal rooms. Whenever you take a portal to Stormwind or Orgrimmar, you're not going to be plonked down in the usual spot in the Mage Tower or down in the Cleft of Shadow. Oh no, you'll be teleported to the super shiny brand spanking new portal rooms. This will be a new portal hub where you can get to most places of interest in the world in record time. It's super cool having all of these portals all together in a single room. It makes you think there's some form of organisation going on, which, let's be honest, it's taken long enough for our mages to get their stuff together, hasn't it? A portal here, a portal there. It doesn't seem altogether too convenient, but now we have these wonderful bastions of fast travel and a new portal animation to boot. The Horde portal room has portals to Silvermoon, Shattrath, Ashran, Azuna, Zuldazar, Honeydew Village in Pandaria, and Old Dalaran. Quite a selection there. Over on the Alliance side, you'll find things to be more or less the same. There's portals to Old Dalaran, the Exodar, Shattrath, Pawdawn Village in Pandaria, one to Ashran, one to Boralis, and the last one will take you to Azuna. So both factions get portals that go to more or less the same places, but you might have noticed that a few locations are missing. You can't go directly to Dalaran in Legion, but you can go to Azuna, so you can still get to that sort of area kind of quickly, even though it's a little bit of a roundabout way to do things. But that does mean that you won't be able to use Dalaran as a quick hop hub anymore. There's another problem with that idea though. All of the portals in Dalaran have been removed, except for one leading back to Orgrimmar and Stormwind. So the other capital city portals are all gone from Dalaran. All of the portals underneath Dalaran to places like Karazhan, Dalaran Crater, Wyrmrest Temple, the Caverns of Time, all of those are gone too. The portals in Old Dalaran have also been removed, so you're going to have to figure out one of the old methods of getting down to the Caverns of Time, or Karazhan, because you can't portal there anymore at all. All of the portals were also removed from the shrine hubs in Pandaria. The only portal left there is to Stormwind and Orgrimmar. So everything goes through these 2 main faction hubs now, and quite a few portals have been removed altogether because of it. It seems a little bit odd to want our interdimensional travel to all be focused in one spot, but then also remove a few very key locations from the temporal map. Is there any real reason to take away the Caverns of Time portal when it's all old content anyway? It's really nice to have a beautiful new room to streamline the process of teleporting around, but it's a shame that the dev team felt they had to take away a few options from us to make it happen. Maybe they were planning on taking away those portals all along and just needed some way to sugarcoat it so it didn't look like we were losing too much. How do you feel about the portal room and losing portals to get it? Did you make use of some of the removed portals frequently? Let me know what you think down below. So moving on from portals and whatnot, what's this behind the scenes system change? Well, as many of you probably know, there's a current hard limit on how many characters you can have on any given realm, and a max character population of 50 spread out across all servers you play on. For many people that probably wasn't ever an issue, as the old 10 character limit per server usually kept alt armies in check, but that might not be the case anymore. As more and more allied races have been added into the game, more character slots were added to each server to allow you to have all of your desired characters in one spot. But Blizzard are blowing the doors wide open in patch 8.15. Instead of having a 10 character limit per server, or even a 15 character limit, or a 30 character limit, there isn't going to be a character limit based on the server you're playing on. The only thing you have to watch out for after patch 8.15 goes live is the 50 character limit on your account. So you can have 50 characters on one server, or 30 on one and 20 on another. You get the idea. That 50 upper limit will always restrict how many characters you have, but now you can have any number of them on any server you wish. There is one weird restriction still in place though. You can only have one Demon Hunter per server, and that restriction is not being lifted in patch 8.1.5. There is a way to get around this, but obviously it's not intended. Either way, it seems a bit weird to allow you to have 50 toons on one server, but still only let you have one Demon Hunter per server. But oh well, they might get around to that sometime in the future. Now, if we could only get some of those free character transfers to actually facilitate moving around all of our characters to exactly where we wanted them, that would be fantastic. I would love to move my leftover characters still hanging out on Illidan over to Area 52, but I just can't justify the cost. You only suffer a few drawbacks when you play on a different server, but it's annoying not being able to trade my gold between all of my characters and not being able to effectively communicate with my guild in-game while playing one of my ults. It would be nice, but I doubt we'll see any free transfers anytime soon. The discount sales on services are rare enough as it is. I think we got one per year or something daft, but oh well, if you want to collect all 50 of your characters on one realm, you can do that in patch 8.15. If you're interested in the 2 allied races coming in patch 8.15, you should be happy to know that a few additional customization options were squeezed into the latest PTR build just before the patch is scheduled to go live. The Culturan human males finally have a full beard option, because just having a few whiskers isn't acceptable. We need a full blossoming beard to really get into the sailor spirit. It goes along with a mustache quite beautifully, in my opinion. The Culturan females now get to choose between a wide selection of necklaces to really bling themselves out. That increases our overall customization options by just a wee bit. The Zandalari have 1 or 2 gold necklaces, but they're just gold choker thingies. No one really has these dainty chain necklaces before, so they're definitely a nice addition to character creation. They also have more earrings to choose from, most of which actually match with one of the necklaces, so you can fancy yourself up however you want for your raid nights. It may have been a little while since you last saw the character creation for allied races, but both the Culturan humans and the Zandalari trolls have been fleshed out quite considerably since the first little sneak peek we got when the PTR first went up. So there's plenty of faces to choose from instead of the 2 we originally had for Culturans, lots of hairstyles and everything you would expect from a new race. It's just a shame that we didn't also get the option for thinner Culturans like we thought we might, but hey, they might be included someday, who knows? And it's not just the initial patch 8.15 content that we have information for. We actually know when the Crucible of Storms is going to open up, assuming everything goes well and the servers don't suddenly burst into flames. It's pretty awesome that we don't have to wait for the week before the raid opens up to hear about their release schedule, so the next little raid on our list should become available on April 16th, which is 5 weeks after patch 8.15 goes live. As per usual, the first week will only have normal and heroic modes available, and both LFR and mythic difficulty will unlock the next week on April 23rd. Because this raid only has 2 bosses, I would expect it to take quite a bit longer to take them down. I don't know if you've had a look at their journal entries, but they're both very complex fights, which might keep some of the top guilds busy for a few days at least on Mythic, so I'm super excited to see how this raid goes. The whole 2-boss mini-raid thing also means that we won't see more than 1 wing for looking for a difficulty, so you won't have to wait very long to see the entire instance, which will be nice for some people. Now, you might be thinking, well, so what? A new raid that drops the same item level gear as what we already have? Why would we even care? Well, there's 2 reasons. The first is that to see it at least once. You have to kill the bosses at least once, right? Especially if we get some story quests. But the second reason is that all of the loot from the Crucible of Storms was bumped up in item level in this very last PTR patch. So it's not going to be the same as the Battle of Dazar'alor loot anymore, but it's not too far away. The first boss of the Crucible of Storms, the Restless Cabal, will drop items which are 5 item levels above Dazar'alor loot, so that's 375 for Raid Finder, 390 for Normal, 405 for Heroic, and 420 for Mythic. The second boss, Unat, Harbinger of the Void, will drop loot which is 10 item levels higher than Dazar'alor gear, 380 for Raid Finder, 395 for Normal, 410 for Heroic, and a whopping 425 for Mythic. Yep, that's right, Mythic Unat will drop gear which is at the current Titan Forging cap. We don't have any info on whether or not the cap will be increasing with this patch for Titan Forging because of this, but I think it will probably stay at 425 and Unat's loot just won't be able to Titan Forge at all. I think the higher item level is going to offset some of the issues the gear was having when it comes to scaling and missing secondary stats. If the primary stat is high enough, the loss of secondary stats might not matter for some classes, and then the extra special effects are just all bonuses on top. Though the balancing is still kind of skew-with here. Some items seem incredibly powerful, while others seem like the negatives severely outweigh any positives they have. It's going to be fun playing around with some new effects though. Suddenly, this raid seems a bit more interesting, huh? Gear is usually one of the best carrots on a stick, so it's no surprise they decided to bump up the item level, but I wonder if this will affect how item level scales in the next raid tier. Will the next raid tier drop gear which is even higher in item level to compensate for the power creep right now, or will they just continue as normal and see how things play out? I think the next raid tier is going to be down in Nazjatar, where we take on Queen Ashara's palace, but we'll have to wait until patch 8.2 for that little adventure. And that's all of the updates to the very last build of the PTR. We'll soon be able to experience everything that patch 8.15 has to offer on live servers. Remember, the patch is slated to release March 12th, so mark your calendars, it's not too far away. What are you looking forward to the most in patch 8.15? The continuation of the story, or maybe you're holding out for the new raid? Leave all your thoughts in the comments section below. A big thank you to all of our supporters over on Patreon. You can see their names floating by on screen. If you want to join these lovely guys and gals, you can find a link in the description below. Remember to leave a like just below the video before you leave, and if you want to see more, make sure to subscribe. But apart from that, thanks for watching folks, good luck and have fun, and as always I will see you next time.